Nobody should have to break the law to defend themselves. I'm gonna call somebody here.
Three, zero, three.
Messengers full. And my phone doesn't have internet anymore. Not the one that's been hooked up to the internet anyway. That's this one right here. If I make the calls by myself, nothing happens. I need people who know what's going on to make these phone calls with me. Brandon Ratner needs to make these fucking phone calls with me. Miss Peaches needed to make these phone calls with me. Graham needed to make these phone calls with me. Instead, Graham hides behind his fucking Jesus. Fuck you, Graham. You don't believe in Jesus. Meanwhile, these people are allowed to get frustrated at me. They're not made homeless by this. They're not separated from their loved ones by this. Do you not understand that the guy at the north end of town, I barely know him. He's a great guy, but I barely know him. And he's not gonna fucking step forward in court. He'll vouch for the fact that I'm not schizophrenic, though. Brandon Ratner, he'll vouch for the fact that I'm not schizophrenic. But he's got to be on the phone with me. I mean, how many conversations have we had for hours on end where I'm trying to explain to him, hey, I need help. I mean, he tried, that situation in Wyoming. He drove all the way up here and then drove me all the way there and then all the way back and then drove all the way back to his house. He's got a big ass fucking pickup truck. That shit ain't cheap on gas. It's not that he doesn't want to help. It's that he's not understanding. Hey, instead of arguing with me over this or us just talking about it like this, I'm gonna fucking end up posting it on the internet anyway. How about instead of doing it that way, that hour that you can sit there and argue with me or, tell me, and a lot of times he's not arguing. A lot of times it's just a conversation, but it needs to be more than a fucking conversation. That conversation needs to be taking place with Adult Protective Services. That conversation needs to be taking place with the FBI. I mean, holy hell, I don't have the money to take care of myself, let alone jump through these goddamn hoops. See, the thing is, there's lots of people that are pushed to the point that they want their lives to end. Lots of people who are going through abuse, and the difference between ending up in a fucking nuthatch And getting the help that you need to stop the abuse is whether or not people in your life give a fuck. If they give a fuck, they're going to say, hey, this is wrong. Fucking stop. But how are they going to even know to do that? If they're not willing to stop and listen to what's going on or look at the fucking evidence. It's not my fault that these people made excuses. It's not my fault that Natalie lied in Virginia. It's not my fault that her sister lied in Virginia. It's not my fault that Maddie Boa lied in Boulder, Colorado. It's not my fault that slander got twisted into a bunch of shit that it isn't. And it's not my fault that I was fucking repeatedly assaulted over it. It's not my fault that I was born with autism. It's not my fault that I was born with Tourette syndrome. It's not my fault that those things, although they don't hurt people, you will hurt me for them. It is not my fault that the drugs that you give me hurt me. It is not my fault that they hurt me physically. It is not my fault that they hurt me mentally. It is not my fault that they don't work the way that you want them to. These are not choices that I made. None of them are choices that I made. When I went and got that computer with Brandon Ratner, by the way, I still have that computer. I'll show it to you. This is when I was on the way to the La Quinta Inn. It's not that Brandon didn't do anything, it's that he never fucking spoke up in court. Never even fucking showed up. When we went and got this, there was a woman with a kid. Fucking dudes are stupid. That's all I got to say. The prospect of vagina, if that vagina can't wait, like, holy shit, yeah, she was gone within a week of that. But I had to understand. And I try to explain to all you dudes, I mean, literally, the difference between a friend and a girlfriend is sex. That's it. If sex means that they're not your friend anymore, well, get the fuck rid of them. Holy fucking Christ. Natalie's own words prove that she was the one who thought she was in love with me. Her and her sister fighting over some boy is not my fucking business. I cared about Natalie and I cared about her sister, and I still do. I cared about their emotions and what they have to go through. But my emotions don't matter to any of you because I have a penis. I have to take it. No matter what. The evidence doesn't fit your narrative. Big fucking whoop. Would you rather have the truth or someone to scapegoat? I mean, the situations in those jails that prevented me from being able to get the help that I needed, to communicate with the people that I needed in an effective fashion. I wasn't even allowed to look at fucking evidence. I wasn't allowed to know what was being said about me. Except for the parts that were used to prevent me from being able to defend myself or make phone calls or do anything of that nature. If you don't have any money, how are you going to call out? This is just one of the systems of control that they use in order to torture you into making a guilty plea. You don't have the money for bail, so you just have to take the torture. You don't have the money to make a phone call, so you just have to take the torture. Meanwhile, is it my fault that the money that Mandy Hughes sent for the phone didn't get there? No, it's not. But when she wants to bitch about it, she's like, I sent money for the phone. Did it ever reach me? No, it fucking didn't. I'm not mad at you because that money didn't reach me. I'm mad at you because you didn't fucking speak up. Oh, you have access to the phones. It doesn't fucking matter. I can't get a hold of Zoe Tanner through that phone. She doesn't work through the public pretender's office, and those are the only free fucking phone calls you got. Meanwhile, Pamela Cardi is too busy trying to force me into a panic attack to bother with getting a hold of anyone else. Pamela Cardi not talking to Miss Peaches isn't my fucking fault. Ask Miss Peaches why she didn't answer the goddamn phone. I was victimized not only for my poverty, but for the poverty of others. Meanwhile, lots of people got fucking help right at the very beginning where it fucking mattered. You helped my predators! If I had help before Natalie was killed, Natalie would have had the help that she needed. Tim Beeson would be in fucking prison. It's not my fault that women protect their predators. I'm in love with him. I don't give a fuck. He fucking beat your ass and he raped you. And I'm the one treating like I beat your ass and I raped you because you're in love with him. Fuck you. It's not men's fault that you're fucking stupid. I didn't make you go back to him. If you remember, you called me up asking for a rescue and I showed the fuck up. All I was asking you to do is call off the fucking dogs. Tell the fucking truth. Meanwhile, I still get people treating me like a pedophile. When I say treating me like a pedophile and you idiots say, oh, you just need to get off Facebook. No. No. Getting off of Facebook and getting off of YouTube is not going to stop the way that I am treated over this slander. It's okay to do whatever you want to me over this slander. And I'm not allowed to be angry. If I'm angry, I'm a bad person. Everybody on the planet gets angry. The difference is you guys are pissed off over trivial goddamn shit. Meanwhile, if you notice, I wished for all of you, to understand what it feels like to be completely alone, to be cut off, to not be able to go anywhere without fear of victimization. And now you fear leaving your house because you'll be victimized by the police. And you're complaining after telling me to shut up. And you're whining after calling me a whiner. I'm trying to do something about it. I've got an idea. I'm gonna play something for you. We'll see if this plays. I hope it does. Sorry, I lost my mouse. That didn't work. Maybe this will. Don't know. If I could will open this and see what it says. Yep, this one right here. This is a 24-minute conversation with me and a guy named Smokey. You save lives. All right, there's like 16 more minutes of that. There's a lot of pretty important stuff that we talk about, but there's also a lot of personal business. I'm gonna pause right there because I had two of my public pretenders explain to me that between a mother with children and someone like me, they're gonna invest their time into a mother with children. It doesn't matter that I'm innocent and that mother is guilty. It doesn't matter that I don't do drugs and that mother is on methamphetamines and drinking all the time. You know, this happens all the time. That was funny. Jokes and blankets and free hugs. This is the funny part. It got pretty contagious. When I first went to Boulder, this is my second stint homeless. Um, when I first got there, and a lot of the old hippies there, they're like, "Hey, you pack it in, pack it out, pick up the trash." And a lot of times, the police, anytime the high school kids show up, they'd show up after school or during their lunch hour, and just make a fucking pigsty of the place. So me, I'm running around picking up trash, just basically most of the time. Everywhere that I went, I mean, King of Nichols, pedestrian shop, they loved me at the pedestrian shop because I just stayed busy picking up trash. And if I did that, it meant that homeless people who might use those very same facilities aren't going to get a littering ticket because those kids' trash is there. See, it isn't just for the kids' safety that we try to run off the children. It's also for our own safety. We catch a lot of shit for what CU students do and for what Boulder High School kids do and for what Boulder Prep kids do. And then there's September School. Them September School kids, they're most likely candidates to go to Naropa. Most of them are into drugs. Um, most of them are seeking the wrong kind of attention. I spent a lot of years in Boulder doing that, passing out blankets and walking people to the Warman Center. And like Smokey was saying, he got involved. Ogre got involved. Sage got involved. There was a bunch of us down there, especially the first year. Like the first year, it was me and Sage and Ogre, and we were fucking hardcore. Sage is one of the people that I was going to go see on my visit to go see Miss Natalie. So I didn't set it up just to go see Miss Natalie. I set it up to go see Amanda DeMett, or Amanda Daniels, as she is known in this area. Um, her dad, Lenny, is actually really cool. I've never had an issue with the man, and he always talks to me like I'm a person. That's always made a difference. Now, Amanda, she's got one of these personalities that, like, how could you not fall in love with her? And that's not saying that I'm in love with her. I don't have that ability. Um, I don't fall in love because falling in love denotes for me superficiality. It's either love or it's not. If I love you, yeah, I'll piss you off for your own safety. I'll run you off for your own safety if it's necessary. I also wanted to say that after that first year, Sage, he comes from a middle class family, upper middle class apparently. He was what's known as a traveler. And travelers, a lot of them are kids that, hey, between going to college and trouncing around the country for a year, I'd rather trounce around the country for a year and then maybe go to college. Um, so Sage, I think he lasted about 6 months before he went home, but he did good. Um, then there's Ogre, and Ogre, that's Christopher Weaver. He stuck with me for an entire year. One of the people I remember is Cody Avram. This guy, he's Jewish, makes a bunch of Jew jokes. Like all the best racist Jew jokes that I know came from him. Guess how many of them I tell? Zero. I don't think they're funny. And not just because I've got ancestors that were Hebrew. It's just I don't like racism. A lot of women, when I check them on their sexism, get pissed off at me. A lot of minorities, when I check them on their racism, they get pissed off at me. Like I'm racist for saying, hey, you're racist. Like I'm racist for saying that blaming men or blaming white people that's definitely racist. Not all white people committed these crimes, just like not all black people committed these crimes. But we got to the point in the United States over 30 years ago where police had too much power. They already had too much power. And then 9/11 happened. And then Trump happened. Holy shit. And we did too. Like we'd get blankets from Boulder County Cares. They only care until 10:30 at night. And by the way, Boulder County Cares no longer exists. See, the Boulder police would come steal our backpacks and stuff. And then while we're in jail, the backpacks are left in there for too long. So they throw away your backpack. They filled up many dumpsters with our backpacks and our gear. They also donate a lot of it. Oh, look at all the help the Boulder Police Department is doing to help the homeless. Look at all the donations they gave. You stole them from us to begin with, asshole. So, Boulder County Cares passes out them blankets until 10:30 at night. Not anymore, though. Very end of the night, if they had any extra blankets, people like me and Ogre and Sage, we'd try to get one or two of them from them. And probably around 1 or 2 in the morning, there'd be somebody that needed one. Not like we can go to sleep. You gotta wait till about 3 in the morning, and you get a few hours of sleep. You try to be up before shift change, and then run around to all the people you gave blankets to if you know where their squat's at. Tell them it's time to wake up. Cody Avram was really bad about that. He did not like to wake up. I gave him my choice squat, right behind the Panera Bread. He was there for about 6 months. That was my spot. That was my good spot. St. Aidan's. Yeah, you go to St. Aidan's, you know that there's a storm coming, right? So you try to, especially during the winter time, you stock up on extra clothes. You find various places to stuff it like a squirrel. The reason for that is because if it's late at night, it's snowing, and you don't have that, you're gonna die. Plain and simple. If somebody finds our stuff, they're gonna throw it away, but it's better to have it just in case. And if it gets taken, well, you got it stuffed in 2 or 3 different places. Homelessness ain't no fucking joke, people. It's victimization by the police. It's victimization by the general public. It's a lot of fucking work just to stay alive. There ain't no such thing as keeping your head above water. Some people get lucky and they got folks that work together with them. If you're a woman, that's a lot more likely. You're a lot more likely as a homeless male to be victimized overall. But being raped as a homeless woman, there are 5 rapes against homeless women for all other rapes. There are 5 hate crimes against the homeless for every 1 hate crime committed against all other groups combined. Meanwhile, the FBI does not consider it a hate crime to do these things to a homeless person, but they do consider it a hate crime to do it to a child molester. So the fact that I'm not a registered child molester actually works against me, despite the fact that I'm not a child molester, just because there were people who wanted to spread rumors that I was. And those people who spread those rumors weren't even there. They weren't even the person who I supposedly did it to. And guess what? The person I supposedly did it to, or the two people that I supposedly did it to, Natalie and Alicia Bollinger, Natalie admitted that we didn't have that kind of relationship. I can destroy most of these court dates just with Natalie Bollinger's words alone. But lucky for me, her words aren't the only ones I have. Now, I'm 11 minutes and 44 seconds into this video, but I'm going to stop it. I don't know if it's recorded on here. See, there's already probably close to 30 people whose conversations I've recorded and are on my YouTube here that admit that I don't do anything other than pot. I don't even like pot. That kitten right there is seriously... I know they're safe when they jump down. I'm just... I guess overly protective. I don't want the kitten to jump off of something that I think is too high, although obviously the kitten thinks it's fine. I don't have the technical skills to do these things, and I'm trying when other people have time in between all of their personal problems. See, while the police wrote down that nobody wanted to help me, the fact is there were a lot of people that wanted to help me and couldn't because of distance, because of them not understanding or not listening to understand, which isn't my fault, and to some degree it's not theirs either. A lot of the people that offered to help, it's because they've been through that trauma. But then again, they can't help me because they have to relive their own trauma in order to do so. So then I end up listening to them relive their trauma, instead of them doing something about something that they can do something about. You can do something about my situation. Instead of digging down to the bottom of a bottle, or smoking out of a light bulb, or sticking that needle in your veins. If you lost a kid, I understand why you cope that way. The rest of y'all, you're fucking idiots. Until they're dead, there's always something you can do to help. You guys don't want to help because I'm not dead. A lot of these people, they could have come forward a lot earlier if I'd have been able to reach out to them. But those Facebook bans, because of the targeting, prevented me from doing that. We're not talking about Facebook bans for threatening to kill people, or Facebook bans for, anything like that. We're talking about Facebook bans because literally thousands of people are all of a sudden looking at me and going, we don't want to hear what he has to say. He's a murderer. So we're going to call everything spam. And I have quite an extensive list of people who are bragging about doing that. You think these Natalie Bollinger groups that are actually Sean Schwartz hate groups that kicked out anybody who spoke up or defended me, do you think that those groups are going to show you the fucking truth? No, they're just going to show you the parts that they want to use to get you to hate me. They're not going to show you the hundreds of times that I begged Natalie on my videos, or Alicia on my videos, Alicia, come forward. Maddie Boa, come forward. If an innocent man is being harmed for crimes that he didn't commit, yes, it is your responsibility to say, hey, knock it the fuck off. It started with you. This should not have been between me and 10,000 other people. While the courts and the Bollingers have their own thing going on without me being allowed to be involved, I have to deal with the assaults from the general public. I have to deal with the harassment from the general public, not just on the internet. That slander on the internet and the fact that none of these sleuth groups are willing to hear my side or look at my evidence or post any of that increases the hatred towards me. And I'm not allowed to be frustrated. You poke me with a stick until I scream for help, and then you call me a psycho for screaming for help. What the fuck is wrong with you? Fuck the United States of America. And fuck the American flag. You wiped your ass with the Constitution. The flag doesn't mean shit anymore. You fucking idiots.